ISO refers to how much the image sensor amplifies the light which falls on it. In traditional photography, ISO referred to film speed, or how sensitive a film was to light. Using a high ISO film meant that you could shoot in lower light and at faster shutter speeds. However, since the film had larger grain, it therefore appeared more grainy. Changing the ISO on your digital camera has a similar effect. This function allows you to control how much the light that falls on the sensor is amplified. High ISO allows you to get a brighter image in lower light, and therefore allows you to shoot at higher shutter speeds, therefore avoiding motion blur. An ISO of 100 is a low ISO, and an ISO of 1600 is a high ISO, with some cameras allowing ISOs of 3200 and sometimes higher. However, the cost of a higher ISO is a grainier image caused by the amplification process, and this is called noise. Therefore, there is always a trade-off between ISO and noise. As ISO increases, you can shoot in lower light and higher speeds, but the noise increases. As ISO decreases, you need more light and slower shutter speeds, but the noise decreases. A higher ISO means brighter, faster images, but noisier images. In low, dimly lit situations, you won't be able to get a fast enough shutter speed to take a subject without getting motion blur. For fast moving subjects or sports photography, your lens may not be able to shoot fast enough to capture a crisp image. A zoom lens without a tripod or image stabilization, or just with an extreme zoom, may push your shutter speed too low to get a crisp image. In these cases, you're likely to either get an underexposed image or a blurry image because of motion blur. Increasing the ISO in these situations will allow for you to increase the speed of the shutter, so you are more likely to get a crisp image which is correctly exposed. It's best to experiment, and if your shot is too dark or too blurry, then try increasing the ISO. You may need to increase ISO if you are shooting moving subjects, shooting dimly lit subjects or scenes, or if you are shooting with a zoom lens. Ideally, always use the lowest ISO that you can get away with. However, ISO is becoming very advanced on modern cameras, and unless you are going to use the images at very large sizes, the grain often isn't particularly obvious. However, one situation where ISO and grain is particularly unforgiving is in dark shots. So therefore, long exposures or pictures of night scenes should always have a low ISO.